it's been nothing but positive messages from the Pakistan supporters, constantly supporting me, constantly wishing me well and looking forward to me to playing again. Everybody just thinks of Pakistan as the cricket team, supporting the cricket team, but the way the football team's being pushed now, and obviously they made history beating Cambodia through to the next round. So making history like that is obviously going to attract more fans, and that's exactly what it's done. So I really think it's a really good point, and I think it can only obviously grow. We've done our part on the pitch. Now it's your turn to do your part off the pitch, and setting up programmes in the community, trying to set up a league, trying to look for more talented players in Pakistan, because I think you can see how passionate they are. And I meet the local boys over there and how passionate they are to represent the national team. So like I said, it's just about pushing it more and more.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of What's Brown Got to Do With It. So today we're going to talk all things football, as I'm joined by Otis Khan, a professional footballer who plays as a winger for Grimsby Town and also represents the Pakistan national team. Thank you, Otis, for joining us today. How are you?
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Happy to be on. I know it's been a long time coming, but we're eventually here now, and happy to talk to yourself.
Thank you, and really excited to kind of talk about your journey. So let's begin from the beginning. Let's start at the beginning even. Is it true? Okay, so you joined the youth academy at Man United and then you moved professionally onto Sheffield. Sheffield United, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I started at Manchester United when I was around 6 or 7 years old. Was there for roughly about 10 years, all the way up until 16 and 17. Then I moved over to Sheffield United and signed scholarship terms and professional contract at Sheffield United.
Okay, and how was that for you? I mean, how easy or difficult was it at the beginning to get into a profession like football?
I think it was fairly easy. Obviously, growing up, I've got a twin brother, so every birthdays, Christmases, we'd get probably new football shirts, footballs. So we'd be constantly playing in the garden, playing in the street, or playing in the field down the road. And as we got a bit older, probably about 6 or 7 years old, my dad was a coach of a local football team. So he coached our team. Obviously, got me and my brother involved, playing in tournaments. So I'd say it was fairly easy. And obviously, growing up, watching Man United on telly, and you go to school in England, and obviously football's the major sport over here. So it was fairly easy sort of transition, really. And obviously, once I fell in love with football, it sort of grew and grew, really.
That's amazing. And so just a bit about you. You do have South Asian heritage, and clearly that's where Khan came from. But
Yes.
How do you think your South Asian heritage has influenced your football journey? And what kind of unique experiences do you think you faced because of your heritage?
I think there's a lot of obviously negative press out there, and obviously barriers for South Asians in football. But for what I've experienced at the moment, I've had a lot of positive to it. Obviously, I had a few negatives. I've had a long career in the game, over 10 years professionally. So it hasn't always been positive. There's been a lot of ups and downs. But I think now in this particular moment in my career, it's led me to incredible opportunities. Obviously, playing for the Pakistan national team. There was some events that I did, a names program, which is set up through the FA and the PFA in England. It gets all the South Asian players together and all the parents to come and speak, and obviously there's a mentor program through that. So it's really opened sort of the world up to me. I can see different parts of the world. I've been to Pakistan now, and obviously in England I get a lot of people reaching out from the South Asian background just for a little bit of advice or mentoring, and just to see, obviously using my experiences and what I've been through on my football journey to help them to a degree. And obviously being a sort of person I am and the way I've been brought up, I'm always happy to help.
Yeah, I mean, you're quite accessible, and that's nice. And I've also seen, with following the Pakistan national team and their amazing football journey right now, all the love and support that you've got from such a huge fan base in Pakistan as well. I mean, how different is that for you compared to in the UK?
I think it's been next level, to be honest. Ever since I completed my documents and it went out on social media, That was probably about 6, 7 months ago now, and since then, social media has just completely blown up. It's been nothing but
Mm.
positive messages from the Pakistan supporters. Constantly supporting me, constantly wishing me well, and looking forward to me to playing again. Obviously, I've had a slight hiccup with the FIFA eligibility, but that's all been approved now. So, yeah, it's been non-stop. Obviously, great support. Everybody just thinks of Pakistan as the cricket team, supporting the cricket team,
Mm.
but the way the football team's being pushed now, and obviously they made history beating Cambodia through to the next round. So making history like that is obviously going to attract more fans, and that's exactly what it's done. So I really think it's a really good point, and I think it can only obviously grow and grow. And the more we play games in Pakistan, the more it'll get pushed.
How do you think like football has kind of grown in terms of for South Asians? And I know like before you were talking about like your dad being a coach,
Hmm.
but how would you say like okay, so when we talk about the UK and especially like maybe South Asians in football there, how much of it do you think has the support has been a barrier? Um, from a lot of players and their journeys, or how do you have you seen that evolve into something where we are actually seeing more ethnicity on the football pitches now? We are seeing more South Asian players, not just men but women as well.
Yeah, I think it's changed massively, and obviously throughout my footballing journey at the start, I think there was few and far between people that I knew,
Mm.
obviously playing professionally from a South Asian background. Just speaking with my dad when he was growing up playing football, his granddad, obviously full Pakistani, he wanted him to probably focus on his studies a bit more. I think it's because they wasn't sort of introduced to somebody who's representing the South Asian community in a professional environment to show that he can actually do that. I think moving forward now, when we do the events at St George's Park, there's hundreds of people
Mm.
there, and there's people in good positions in academies, in football clubs. There's coaches there. So I think once you come and speak to these people and you realise that my son or my daughter has really got a talent here, and there's a pathway.
Yeah.
Because I think that was one of probably the biggest barriers. I think it's more of a safe option for parents to push the children into uni and become a doctor or a nurse or something like that, because they can see the journey clearly. Well, whereas now there's more people that can help parents understand the journey, and this is what he has to do. This is the next step. This is what he'll look like, and I believe he's got a talent here. And obviously, speaking from the last event that I did at St George's, I think that was a lot of the questions saying, my son's got something. What's the next step? How does it work? I
Right.
think when they see more people from a South Asian background, playing professionally, working in clubs, working in academies, working in big clubs, I think it makes them think, yeah, you know what, this is something that my son or daughter can actually do as a career now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for you being one of the very few South Asians in professional football, I mean, think, what role do you think South Asian athletes like yourself, and not just necessarily football, but, you know, in any sport, what role do you see yourself playing in breaking down the barriers and the stereotypes in in sports, full stop?
I think I play a massive role. I think it's all about representation. If you see somebody who's playing for professionally, you've got me, Mal Benin, Zidane Iqbal, you've got a number of
Mm.
players from a South Asian background. I think when you actually see players playing, Mal's got, I think it's 400 games. I've got 300 professional games. When they see
Wow.
somebody, you can believe they can do that. I think obviously it opens up opens up more opportunities for them to realise that they can do it. And I think the way the world's going now, and obviously the FA and the PFA, they're focusing more on obviously diverse backgrounds and making sure everyone's equal and got the fair opportunities, which is obviously what Riz is pushing throughout the AIMS program. So I think
Yeah.
obviously with my journey, it hasn't been easy. There's been ups and downs. Obviously, if you was to look at myself, I don't necessarily look like South Asian, but I think from my name, Otis Khan, then some people
Mm.
obviously might stereotype that a bit. But again, football is going to be ups and downs of the journey. But I think the main thing at the moment, what people didn't have, obviously me growing up, probably 16, 17 years old, when I had a few problems like that, was sort of like a mentor who's been in the game, who's experienced
Mm.
that. Whereas now there's a group of probably I want to say about 10 professional players who's got experience, who can mentor these younger pros to sort of navigate them situations. So I think that's a big one. The way it's going now, I think it can only get better.
Mm. I mean, it's true. And to that point, are there any kind of specific initiatives or projects that you're personally involved in to kind of promote diversity and inclusion in football?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned before, Riz Raymond, he does the Aims program. So that'll involve people from a South Asian background coming to St George's or wherever that might be. It might be an academy, it might be a club. When I was at Leyton Orient, we did one there. He just
Right.
so you've got players from obviously South Asian background in different clubs up and down the country. They can come, they can speak. Obviously, there's people there they can get obviously knowledge off. And whereas me, I speak to Zidane Iqbal. I speak to his dad quite a lot. Obviously, when he was growing up at United as well. I'm just on the end of the phone for a lot of players. Obviously, Riz has put me in touch with a few players as well who might need, a bit of mentoring. So whenever they've got a
Mm.
problem, they'll ring me and I'll try and speak to them and not sort of dictate, but just give my advice and what I think you should do, or the best way about going about things. So, obviously, I'm really, obviously, really happy that I'm doing that for the younger generation. And like I said, I'm always on the end of the phone if somebody needs me, because I know I've been in them situations before, and I didn't have somebody in a position like me who could help. So
Yeah.
I'm always there for them at the end of the phone.
What kind of like issues still are, or what would you say that, can still be worked on when it comes to promoting diversity and inclusion?
I think probably just more people in better positions. Really, obviously, if it goes without saying, you've got to have the talent, and you've got to, be good
Mm.
enough to get in them positions. And I think obviously just fair opportunities for everyone. You can see now in football, you've obviously got the Say No to Racism, how much they've pushed that
Yeah.
over the years, and you can see sort of the benefits that they're reaping now. I think more and more what they do with obviously the South Asians in football and the way that's going to grow and grow over probably the next 10, 15 years. Obviously, it's not going to be an overnight thing, but I think the more and more it gets pushed, and obviously Riz is influential in the Aims program and at the PFA, so I know that's getting pushed more and more. But I think time will tell, really. I think for what's happened, obviously to people from different communities, the black community in football,
Yeah.
if we push it the same way with South Asians in football, I think it'll get to a really good place.
Yeah. So what do you see the future of South Asians in football? What changes, like, I mean, I know we spoke about seeing more representation, but what other kind of changes do you hope to see in coming years?
Like I said, more. When you go to these events, you see people you wouldn't expect, like saying, "Oh, I work at this club, I work at this club, I work at Chelsea, I work at
Yeah.
Tottenham." I think the more that builds, and everything comes together, and parents can see the journey and what that looks like, and can speak to these
Mm.
people in good positions. I think it'll obviously grow and grow and grow. I think it's nice to obviously to go to a different club or see referees in the game of a South Asian
Mm.
background, and I think probably, like I said, in the next 5 to 10 years, that'll get pushed more and more.
Yeah. Um, so, I mean, it's quite a lot of pressure for you as well because, going to play for Pakistan and at such a crucial and pivotal moment when it comes to sports in Pakistan. And as you know, I spoke to Maria before, and Maria is the captain of the Pakistan national women's football team. And we're just talking about a lot of kind of the breaking down the stereotypes and the barriers for just women playing football in Pakistan. And so now there's this added pressure that where cricket is not just the only sport, like you rightfully said before, but actually, taking it to a level where Pakistan can stand, in a position and say, well, we actually have some really great, talented players as well. But to change also the mindset of so many people in a country where it's not a national sport. How does that translate for you? When you see your teammates or the ones that are from Pakistan, what are kind of some of their struggles?
I think it's really difficult. I think me growing up in England, you've got them opportunities to go to academies,
Mm.
to go to teams. I think with Pakistan now, with the local players who obviously play for the national team, there's not a proper league set up for them. So whereas me, I play week in, week out all season. I play for like 10 months of the year, so I'm constantly improving, working on my game. Whereas them, they don't have a proper league set up, and I know obviously things is a lot different to England over here. But I think the way it's going now with the new manager that's come in,
Mm.
he's looking to try and get a league going for the local players, which is obviously great. And the fact that the team made history and actually won that game, I think puts more added pressure onto the Pakistan Federation to do something about this problem. Because I think obviously playing football, you need a league. I think that's
Mm.
the that's the major thing that they need to improve, and to get the local players there, because they have got talented players. You can see this in the national team, and they've got talented players without a proper league structure. If you look what
Mm.
India did for a number of years, the past 10, 15 years, the way it's grew, they developed the league there.
Mm.
And if you look what they're doing sort of on an international level now, they've come on leaps and bounds. So I think obviously Pakistan and India don't get on too well, but the way they can obviously look at India as their model, use the league, and then that improved internationally. I think that's one of obviously the model that they could follow. But it's got some great talented players there. I train with them, I played with them, and it's just really unfortunate, really, that they can't play football week in, week out. Because I know once they do that, that Pakistan national team will improve definitely over the years.
Well, it seems like this is the push that, maybe Pakistan needed to kind of take football as a sport seriously. And I mean, one thing I learned when I was talking to Mario, which was mind blowing for me, was that the women's team and the men's team get paid the same amount. And, I think that's a great step. And it kind of shows that, the government is serious about this as a sport. There is a kind of incentive for people to want to take it more seriously as well. And the fact there's equality in that, in the pay, is just, like I said, it was just mind blowing.
Yeah, I didn't think I wasn't too sure on that. I didn't know. That's new to me, and obviously that's great. You can even see it with the USA team, the women's team.
Mm.
They was pushing for years for the same pay. Then they finally got the same pay, and it was a massive thing in the headlines. So obviously you can see Pakistan are doing things the right way, and they're pushing it in the right way. And I think obviously, like I
Mm.
said, obviously the women's team's done really well recently. In the getting better FIFA rankings, and the men's team has obviously made history. So I think it just puts more added pressure on the federation to do their part. We've done our part on the pitch. Now
Mm.
it's your turn to do your part off the pitch, and setting up programs in the community, trying to set up a league. Trying to look for more talented players in Pakistan, because I think you can see how passionate they are. And I meet the local boys over there, and how passionate they are to represent the national team.
Mm.
So, like I said, it's just about pushing it more and more. But we've done our job on the pitch, so other people have to do their job as well, which I think they will.
Yeah, it's amazing. Um, can you share your thoughts on like the support and recognition that you think South Asian footballers have received in recent years? I know you name dropped a couple of them.
Yes.
Um, I'm not going to lie, I probably know one of them that you mentioned before. Um, but, there is a level of recognition now that they are getting. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's been pushed more and more and more. These important people in Sky Sports. Dev, he works in Sky Sports, and he's constantly posting things on Sky Sports Twitter
Mm.
page, Instagram, which, as you know, it's got millions of followers. So he's constantly pushing that, which is great. They have the South Asian Awards, I think, which they had the other week. So you've got all
Yeah.
the journalists who go to there. So it's not something that you think he's just everybody behind the phone. So there's actually events and awards and dinners that people go to, just to obviously to push it a bit more and try and obviously communicate and network with these people, because there's a lot of great people at the moment pushing it as much as they can. But I think it's obviously something that's growing and growing, and it can only get better.
Yeah, and I think it's great that, as a community, the South Asians, to kind of uplift each other, and to support one another, and to kind of elevate and highlight those experiences, especially if you are in a position to do that. But just to have so many South Asian journalists, on the field now as well is really kind of inspirational, because you do have people now that you can turn to and you can say, okay, that person looks like me, who might resonate with your journey, who might understand some of, the challenges, and have solutions to kind of change those into successes. So that's great as well. How would you summarize your journey to a young aspiring South Asian who's hoping to make it as a professional?
I think it's obviously going to be extremely difficult. I think if I write down on a piece of paper and it reads all the ups and downs I've been through, I think a lot of parents wouldn't let the son or the daughter go through what I've been through. What it's caused, obviously, with my family, and a constant battle, obviously mentally, up and downs, playing, not playing. Obviously, recently with the Pakistan national team, the eligibility and things like that. It's not easy, but I think once you recognise your son or daughter's got a talent there, I think nurture that talent, because it's the experiences and the opportunities that I've had in football. From obviously playing at Wembley and making my debut, playing for the Pakistan national team. These are obviously incredible stories that I'll be able to tell when I'm old, and obviously I make my dad proud, make my granddad proud. But yeah, I think 95% of it is definitely mentality. It's the rest is obviously talent, but I think it's just overcoming. But like I said, there's people in positions now, especially South Asians, that can help you with what you're going through, which is obviously great. You've got your mentoring programs in there as well. But I think obviously never give up. Also, it's something I've always stuck by. My parents has always been there. I've got a terrific family, a support system there that's obviously been throughout my journey for over the years. They've seen me happy. They see me sad. So it's they've always been there. So I think if something you really want to do, I think push it, great, do it. You'll have amazing opportunities. But just know it isn't always going to be plain sailing.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of fair in any form of life. Not everything comes easy. And so
Yes.
not just in football, in whatever you're aspiring to do. Thank you. But one of the very last questions that I ask all my guests is, what's Brown got to do with it for you? So what does being Brown mean to you, or what's Brown got to do with it when it comes to football?
I think it means everything to me. That's my heritage. Obviously, my granddad passed away before I was born, so unfortunately, I could never meet him. But in my eyes, I'm making him proud, playing for the Pakistan national team. I'm representing there. I'm making my dad proud, and obviously all my family in Faisalabad. So I think it's massive, and obviously me in the position that I am. Over 300 professional games, playing for the Pakistan national team. You'll probably see kids growing up, probably in Pakistan or England now, thinking, "Look at Otis. He's made a career out of the game. He's played for the Pakistan national team. Look at all these opportunities he's had. Right, I'm going to do this. He's done this, so I can do this." It's obviously being, something I'm proud of, and yeah, I'm willing to help anybody who needs to help themselves.
And so you should. I was telling you this briefly before we started recording, but when I was talking about South Asians in sports, I was talking to my son, Aman, and his one of his best friends. And I said, "Oh, tell me a South Asian footballer." And so his friend actually told me about you. And then,
Yeah.
he was really proud when he was like, and he's actually playing for Pakistan now as well. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And that's how I learned about you. So you definitely are an inspiration to so many kids out there. It's so refreshing to actually see South Asians in football now. Growing up, when I was growing up, there weren't any. So
Yeah.
being able to see my son actually look up to someone that looks like him, that's definitely showing that how much we've progressed. But obviously, there's always room for improvement. So,
Of course, yeah.
thank you for doing what you're doing. Good luck with Pakistan and the upcoming match, and just with your career in general. And thank you for speaking to me today.
No, you're more than welcome. I've enjoyed it. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right, I'll see you soon.
See ya.